launch this pig? Get it going here.
Rip.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not going to pull. I'll add the music in post.
Oh, okay. So I can start
whenever you're ready.
Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody, to Got Your Back podcast. Great to be here tonight. Oilers victorious over the Philadelphia Flyers. We know that they lost that game previously. They found a way to get it done. To help us break it down, we'll bring in Terry Ryan and Zuby momentarily. But, of course, Got Your Back is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. Mr. Dirk, iconic men's clothing store in Edmonton. Founded in 1939. If you have never been, you have to check it out just off White Avenue and 102 Street. Beautiful new shop. Mr. Dirk, formerly Dirks, has everything you need for every aspect of your wardrobe. Huge lineup of casual clothes, jeans, pants, shirts, sweaters, shoes, and on the more formal side, an amazing selection of brand new suits, sports coats, ties. They can do customers. They have in-house tailoring. Mr. Dirk is really a one-stop shop for all your clothing needs. You're so happy to have them on board. It's great to have a part. And honestly, they help me look good, although dressing this up isn't that hard. On a night, we see McDavid break through 800 career points. Crazy. Draisaitl will get to 700, and Nugent Hopkins is looking right at 600. Let's bring in our my wingmen for the evening, Mr. Christopher Zabunia, and of course, Terry Ryan. Boys, good to see you again. It's been a while since we've been hanging out.
Good to see you guys. It has been a while. It's been eventful over here in Newfoundland. I've been following along with the Oilers, even though we haven't kept in touch much. How you guys been doing?
Zoobs?
I'm doing well. Ryan's away in Mexico. I'm just back from Mexico. And also ran into, like, on the plane both ways, ran into a popular destination right now, it would seem, because we ran into tons of people even at the airport here in Kelowna that we knew that were coming and going to. So I'm doing well. Tried to keep up with the Oilers as best I could while I was there. And good to be back here. The last, just quick note, last time the three of us did this, because I was checking, it was December 14th. And that was the single most viewed episode of Got Your Back ever. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't. Of course that was the last time we did. It was December 14th.
I see.
I love it. I should introduce myself. My name is Jason Stradwick. Generally pretty good hockey player and all around good guy. Oilers win 4-2 tonight. And we should mention Ryan Rishaug is not here. He'll be gone for a little bit. Apparently went to Mexico, but I heard it was a yoga retreat. He is concerned about his back. We know he has a bad back, and he's trying to get him stretched out. TR, you've been busy in the movie business. Maybe get us up to date what you've been up to and wheeling and dealing.
Yeah, that's it. I've been, I leave to do Shorzy season 2 in about 3 weeks. Leave to go to Toronto, Sudbury for that. And here in Newfoundland, I've had an opportunity to be in a couple of movies. You'll see them coming up. One of them's on Lifetime, and it's as of now called Made to Kill, although we might have to change that name, but I believe it's MAID to Kill. It's coming on Lifetime real soon. I'm going to guess within a month or two. And I can't really reveal much, although I'm not a good guy, put it that way.
Oh, geez. Are you ever?
Well, it depends who you ask, I suppose. But in this, I'm really not a good guy. Yeah.
That's quick turnaround in post. Holy cow. I could never pull that off.
It is.
1 month, a month? That's fantastic.
Yeah, I did another one here called Skeet, and that'll be out in the summertime. And in Newfoundland, I guess, how would you describe a skeet? It's kind of like a hick, or, I guess just a skeet's a smart ass running off at the mouth, kind of no job, bumming around town, odd jobs, I should say. I don't know how to really explain it other than that, but there's a bunch of us, bit of a gangster type thing. So I'm looking forward to that. But more than anything, guys, I got to be honest, Shorzy season 2 and the playoffs are simultaneously coming up, and I'm really looking forward to both.
I can't wait for both of those. It's absolutely awesome. Before we get to the playoffs, though, teams have to make the playoffs. So let's get to the breakdown. Brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. DLR Vinyl supplies some of the nicest maintenance-free fencing and decking products out there. If you've always had a wood fence in your backyard, it's getting pretty dicey. Time for a change. Really give some thought to going maintenance-free. No more sanding, staining, no more worrying about upkeep. It looks amazing the day it goes in, and it stays that way for decades. It's better product. It's much more simple to use. DLY Vinyl locations in Edmonton and Calgary. So check it out there. So that means it's time for you and I, TR, to get involved in this game. The Oilers pull it out 4-2, but man, it was a slow start though. Oilers totaled 10 shots in the first 2 periods. I think that included warm-up. Your thoughts on what I thought? I expected the team come out and bring out lots of energy. And quite frankly, TR, we saw the opposite as the Oilers played kind of plodded through the first 2 periods.
And it wasn't just energy; it was mental lack of preparation or lack of focus. It seemed to me for a team that's doing so well as of late, and is a real, let's be honest, a Stanley Cup contender. Anytime you make the playoffs and you have stars like that, you're a Stanley Cup contender. But I mean, above that, they're playing great as of late. But do they have lapses at the start of the game? I don't understand. Even the best players, not dumping it when they should, not getting it in, and having basically no forecheck. But it seems that when they're really tested, like they rise, the Oilers, even though a couple games before this they gave up leads, but they're often they're swayed by momentum one way or the other. And I just thought early on it was bad decisions, and of course, like you said, it was energy, but it wasn't just physical; it was mental as well.
I'm going to give some credit to the Philadelphia Flyers. I believe they did an unbelievable job for 2 periods, just playing that clog it up, boring hockey. I mean, how many times do you see the Oilers, try to do maybe a cross ice pass TR, whether it was just coming out of their zone or going into the zone, and the puck was knocked down and it was going back the other way. And it's frustrating, especially for skilled players. It's a frustrating style of game. And it really took till the 3rd period for Oilers to understand that they weren't going to win the game coming out of their zone and trying to get through the middle of the ice, even the neutral zone. They had to get it deep. And when they started getting it deep, and I thought it started early in the 3rd period, Connor McDavid's like, okay, screw it. I'm driving this puck wide. I'm getting down, and I'm going to play the puck down deep. I'm going to hang on to it down low. And it's going to be ugly. You look at some of the goals that were scored that, well, I guess there was 2 power plays and the one empty ender, but the one he scored, it was not a pretty goal. He just banks it off the D-man and goes in. But those are the nights. And I think what I take from this is I see a team that didn't get away from its game plan too much. They held in there. But what they did is they just kept grinding and stayed with it and not try to ad-lib it. And I think that's something that's growth for me in this situation, because it could have gone the other way where they just kept trying to zing those passes to the neutral zone, and man, it doesn't work. Again, not against a team like that.
There was no panic, right? There was no panic. And
I like that. Yeah.
As the game evolved, you could tell that you start squeezing your stick a little bit, as they were, but there really wasn't no panic. That's a sign of a playoff team too, isn't it? And it wasn't. I mean, it's always on display when McDavid goes end to end and hits the post, or Draisaitl makes a crazy pass, or they get a power play and it's tic tac toe. But it's also little things. I mean, the players that needed to. Nurse Desharnais in particular, a couple times late in the game, made defensive plays when they had to. Sure, the Oilers, it's amazing. Even over the last few games, and they give up some goals. They gave up a 2 or 3 goal lead a couple times. Even tonight, like there's lapses defensively, but they make some spectacular defensive plays. Skinner made an unreal save there. That's late in the game that possibly saved it. Nurse is flopping around like a water buffalo in the crease at the end of the game with his face, literally his face on the ground. Shore's blocking shots. I could go on and on. The last few, like they have moments of defensive brilliance. It's just they often have a little lapse and it comes back to bite them. But like you said, tonight, no panic, and they got the job done once again.
And I love how you talk about that, the defensive, because, we can talk about the lack of offense and how it was kind of slow start for the first 2 periods for the Oilers, but they were pretty decent defensively. They ended up giving up, I think, 25, 26 shots off the top of my head, whatever it was, but not a ton of great chances. That one save that Skinner made late in the game, that it probably should never happen, but he makes a hell of a save to keep him in it. But, that seems what they're getting from these goaltenders is, maybe you're, and not to Skinner let the other ones they were pour in, but they're timely saves, and that's often what it is. It isn't that you have to make every save, but there's just that one time you just give the guys a break, like, hey, we know you screwed this up. I'm going to punch this puck out here. You guys, now you owe me one. And, because if they score there, it's 3-2 Flyers, and now the Oilers are chasing the game again. Instead, save made not too long later. McDavid, I think that was McDavid's goal, I think, if I'm correct. But anyways, it was the 3rd goal, and they got them going. And that's what you need. You need that moment to just give us a second chance. And I think they did a really good job. So the defensive part was better. But I mean, the last 3 games, they've been gifting goals all over the place. Tonight, it wasn't quite as evident. They tried a couple times, but Skinner was there to bail them out.
And when I say defensively, I mean a lot of the time giveaways in the offensive zone or the neutral zone.
Oh, sure.
That they got to improve that. Everybody to a player seems to, a little bit lackluster, especially in the neutral zone. But listen, the save Skinner made, and again, I'm using Skinner as an example, but it's often, it's a big play late in the game. But that not only do we assume that they got a kick, you could feel that in the building. You could actually feel the momentum swing in the building. And those kind of, I hate to go back way, way, way back to when I was a kid. But how many times would you watch the Oilers and Fior made a big save, and the Stars would go down and score, and you just really, it's a feeling, and you almost got to be there to understand it. But Skinner, Campbell, who at the beginning of the year took a little bit of crap. It's a long season, and I said it, and there's going to be plays like that, like you said, once in a while you're counted on, and it's making the big play at the right time, and it's not always a goalie, but it's all too often one of the 2 big guns. But tonight that was big, and like I said, Shore made an incredible shot block late in the game, and Nurse, and that's just 3. The Desharnais impresses me with every shift he plays, and we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, let's get to the Weiss Johnson sound box. With 45 years in the business, should you need a furnace, garage heater, air conditioner, hot water tank, or any of these things service, Weiss Johnson is the right place to go. Right now, they have some great specials on new furnaces, air conditioners, or heat pump installed by February. You'll get $500 worth of gas cards. Anyone gets an estimate for a furnace, air conditioner, or that heat pump, they will get entered into a draw for a pair of tickets to an Oilers game. 5803 Roper Road, 780-463-3096. Again, that's our good buddies at Weiss Johnson. They were running the sound box here. I'm going to get to a couple here and get your thoughts. I'll start with this one, though. This one's from @BCurlock. Hey, guys, I'd be interested in your views on the righty D pairing. Saw some of that tonight from Manson. And we saw it near the end of the game. I want to say it was 2 minutes left. We saw Bouchard and Barrie on the ice together. 2 offensive right shot defensemen. And I'm not going to lie, my hair jumped off my head and ran away when I saw those 2 guys on at the same time. And it's not that I don't appreciate the type of players they are. The problem is they're the same type of players. That I don't know if that was a miss. I'd have to go back and watch the game if maybe it was a change. But the 2 right offensive defensemen on at the same time as you're trying to protect a lead, that was a real shocker. And, it's rare to see 2 right shot defensemen go on the ice together. There are just not enough right shot defensemen. There's very few teams. There's probably a bit more now, but, you go back a number of years, there was very few teams that had, 3 lefties, 3 righties. It was sometimes, 4 and 2 or even 5 and 1. And we're starting to see a few more righties creep into the league, but that for me was, you can't put those 2 guys out together, not because they're righties, because they're too similar to TR. That's a dangerous style of play. I'm not sure how that actually happened.
It throws everything off too, because like you said, it just doesn't happen that much. So even though 2 lefties, you would think would be quite similar to having 2 righties, sure, but not so much because you're not used to seeing it. It's like the right-handed goalie or in pitchers when there's a left-handed pitcher that comes in.
Right.
It throws it, even though, I mean, now our righties should see it the same and our left, but it's not. It's just, it's that aesthetic. It's that seeing that as a player. So it kind of, it takes a little bit of adjustment. So to just toss that in a close game, I know it makes you cringe a little bit. And usually it comes down to either a bad change or a bit of a miscommunication.
Yeah, it is odd to see 2 righties. It doesn't happen. But again, when you're running 7 defensemen, you get some weird pairings, right? You're going to get some pairings that maybe aren't what should be your natural and comfortable pairings. But to put 2 guys out that are so offensive minded, and Bouchard, I think it was halfway through the 3rd period. He got the puck. It was a D to D, if I remember correctly. He tried to go cross ice through the middle, and the puck got knocked down. It's like, just move the puck up the wall. And he's still trying to understand just when it's time to go for it of offensive player and when it's time to kind of just say, okay, I'm just going to pick my battle here and kick that puck up the wall or whatever the case is. Just make that simple play. And I feel like he's really at a crossroads with that, TR. It's not easy when you see him play because I think he wants to do stuff so well that I think he forces things that aren't there, especially when it comes to the passing.
Yeah, and it's the quick decisions. I couldn't have put it better myself. He forces things that aren't there. But if he has time and he looks up, he usually makes the right play. If it comes back, he's usually in position. The fundamentals are there. It's those quick plays, and it's bad judgment with not much time to do it. And who knows? Still a young defenseman. You never know what'll happen. I think those kind of quick plays are something that you can mature as a player, but sometimes you just got to sit back and make the easy play as opposed to trying to do too much.
Let's go back into the Weiss Johnson Twitter box here, and it says this one's from at Steve Taylor. Struds and TR, love to hear your guys' perspective on illnesses working its way through a team. I used to work for an NHL team. I was always surprised after a game when guys played with the flu. Seems to take a real toll. What is your experience, sir, with yourself or teammates playing with, like I said, the flu and playing through games?
Personally, for myself, I would have to be pretty sick, and it had to be contagious. I mean, I think that could be more error than anything. Struts, now, maybe there's a lot of people sit out for a lot of less. Not that I was a hero. I'm not. That was just kind of what I was taught, and I think pretty much to a person in the era that we played, you had to be pretty sick. I mean, if I came in with the sniffles and didn't play, I think I'd get a little bit of pushback from my teammates, at the very least a ribbing, and I would feel bad. I would feel shame. I really would, and I'd want to play. Now, if it's contagious, or if it's something real bad like food poisoning, but most of that stuff, I remember guys playing through.
Yeah, I can say I never missed one game when I was sick, and not so much in the NHL. When I was in the minors, one time I was so sick. I was, and everyone's been through this. We are so cold, you can't get enough clothes on you. I was in a hotel in Baltimore. I turned the heat up full heat, and my roommate woke up just sweating. But I had my suit on, and I put clothes over top of that, and my tracksuit over that, and the extra blanket, and I was still shivering and sweating through it all. And I remember I got to the rink the next day, and I'm like, I'm sick. They're like, we need you to play. I'm like, all right, I guess. And I played. And I think I actually fought. I was so rattled. I just couldn't wait for the game to end. And then I was kind of grumpy, and I was slashing guys because I was just in a bad mood. And then when I got to the NHL, it was hard because I was at times a guy who was in and out of the lineup. So I didn't tell anyone I was sick. I would just pop a couple Advils and pound some, not Metamucil, but whatever, just get something, just get through it, right? Just battle through it, a couple cough drops and call it a day. So, but it does take its toll. And I found that he always felt so drained after. And I found the next day I had no energy. And I tried to sleep and eat and, chicken noodle soup and then try to get it going again. But it does take its toll. And it's hard when it's multiple players. Like if it's just one guy, it's okay. But if it's 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 guys, and you look in that dressing room, everyone's sick. Everyone has their own water bottle. It was nasty, TR. It was really nasty.
And the thing is too, it's so whatever league you're in hockey, it's a long season. It's not 17 games like the NFL. It's and I get it, but it's 82, and you're grinding and you're practicing every day, and everybody's together, and even a light day at practice is a lot of sweat, right? Like days that you're out there and you might not have to do a bunch of battle drills. It's still a fairly hard workout if you're sick. So, but I mean, it was just it was maybe a sign of the times. Maybe there's a happy medium, but in our day, I don't remember anybody really coming in and saying, I'm sick, I can't play.
Yeah, it just didn't happen. TR, I want to talk about the Oilers specialty teams. There are nights where they're going to win you games. And I think tonight, Oilers go 2 for 4 on the power play. And I think they were 3 for 3 on the penalty kill. 3 for 3 or 4 for 4. But either way, that was the difference in the game. And I don't think you want to go off that every single night when you're playing the NHL. You want to win the specialty teams battle, but you don't want to win it because of your specialty teams. But I think tonight, especially the second or the second goal kind of got them going in that third period. So, when you look at this power play and you look at the guys that are on it, there's the 4-minute power play drawn by Devin Shore, gets bumped in the nose, and those guys played probably 3 minutes of it, but they did reward the team with a goal. But I mean, the energy that they seem to get, especially when they know, like there's sometimes you go for a power play, it doesn't look that good. I thought that power play for the whole 4 minutes looked pretty dangerous.
Yeah, and those kind of guys, they just need touches, right? And then they heat up,
Yeah.
right? You could tell. And was backtracking here a bit, was the McDavid post, was that penalty kill? That end-to-ender rush? Might have been.
He did on the back door. I think it.
Remember, he went down, he took a shot, hit the crossbar. It was a nice rush.
Right.
That might have been penalty kill, but anyway, I'll get back to point. So those guys, yeah, and even if they don't score, they're sniffing around. They love to get touches on the puck. The whole momentum swings, like I said, and the fans now in Edmonton, there's a real feeling in the building when they start to heat up. They know what's coming, and I can't remember. I don't think there were any real bad penalties. But if I'm the opposing team, I'm not just worried about giving Edmonton a power play all the time. It's giving them any sort of momentum, and it's just such an easy way to do it. They get tic-tac-toeing in there, and even if they don't score, you can tell it's coming. And not only that, it's the space that they create on the power play. I mean, everybody's got the same amount, right? And it's a game of inches when everything's so fast. The game is so fast now, and everybody's got a one piece, and the shots are so hard, but still, the Oilers, all you need to do is give them a little room. I mean, Draisaitl scores that goal on the side of the net tonight. How many of those has he gotten? You know what he's going to do. You know where it's coming from. But if we got one more player than you, and we're the Edmonton Oilers, where the odds go up in our favor, don't they?
You talked about that Draisaitl goal. What I loved about that is, I couldn't do it. But Nuge just kind of holds it and makes it look like he's going to shoot it. So as a defender in the goalie, you have to respect that. You have to front that shot as a D-man, and the goalie also has to respect it. And to me, he looked like he just hold. I was like, man, he's going to shoot this. And then boom, slides it back door. And I mean, Leon had half the net to shoot at, right? But that's the difference between just getting in, passing, and looking right away, rather than hold. Yeah. Oh, and then you slide it over and I hated that feeling as a D-man, because you're like, in your mind, he's not going to shoot it. He's like, this guy isn't shooting it, although he has been shooting more this year. And then when he does, and you kind of don't snap your stick in that passing lane, you're like, did it come off, coach? Like, gotta have your passing, shooting that passing lane, or your skating or stick in that passing lane. I'm like, I know I'm supposed to do that, but it looked like he was going to shoot, because he has been shooting from there. So that's the hard part, I think, as a defender about that power play, because not just him, there's a lot of guys, but Nuge is doing a really good job of freezing with that shot.
Yeah, Nuge is an example. God, who's back again when I'm a kid and I used to watch, and Mario Lemieux would play with Rob Brown or Kevin Stevens, and people say, well, it's all Lemieux, right? Like this year, well, Nugent's doing that because of but Nuge, it's he'll flourish with players that are great thinkers. He's doing as much for them as they're doing. But now that lane is always there. How many of those passes has he made, right? Now, Nugent's a good scorer anyway, but now you give him all those options with players that are so creative. It's like Phil Kessel when he went to the Penguins. Once you become, if all the pressure's not on you and you're still a pretty good scorer and you're setting up guys like Crosby and Malkin. So I love watching Nugent Hopkins in this particular situation. Yeah. I know it's not brand new, but you can really see now he's in the prime of playing with those players and really getting to know his teammates around him. And there's an advantage when you're not a suitcase and you stay in one and you build something together, because you can see now a comfortable Nugent Hopkins is a big-time valuable player, right?
Well, we're talking about an Oilers game. They win 4-2 against Philadelphia Flyers, and it keeps pace with all the teams that actually are within striking distance and maybe in the conference lead if they get on a big roll or continue on this roll. But in the night, we looked at Leon getting his 700 point, McDavid at 800. I think Nuge is now 2 or 1 away from 600. Just incredible accomplishments. All right, we're going to step out here really quick and take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into our takeaways about our main man, Vinny Desharnais.
Joined now by Sterling Dirk, right inside the beautiful store over at Mr. Dirk. Sterling, time for a little rapid fire. You up for it?
I'm ready. Here we go.
All right, true or false? You took on title sponsorship of this podcast for the sole purpose of fixing Jason Strudwick's mess.
True. His wife came begging for help.
It's going to be a long, beautiful relationship. It's going to take us a while, pal. All right, true or false? If someone's frustrated looking at their wardrobe, doesn't like their options, it's immediately $1,500 to make any change.
False. You start with one item, you build it up. It's like anything in life. You just need to kind of start placing those pieces and then adding more and more, but it doesn't need to happen all at once.
True or false? Suits are the main thing that Mr. Dirk offers.
False. Actually, we carry a wide array of product from jeans, shoes, socks, underwear, t-shirts, casual wear. I mean, we specialize in tailoring, but we are head to toe for all of our clients from weekend to regular everyday office.
Great stuff. Check out the shop just off White Avenue at 102nd Street. And for all their stock, visit them online, mrdirk.com. Thanks, Sterling. I'll see you soon, buddy. I'm due.
We'll see you soon.
Hey, Struddy, question for you. Have you ever tried putting in your own fence?
I sure have. Between digging the posts, mixing up cement and digging the holes, it's absolute killer.
It's brutal on the back. Well, listen, what if I told you you could put in a fence without having to dig a hole or mix any concrete?
I'd be much more likely to come over and help you out.
Yeah, well, you're not the first guy I would call, but thank you for that. Listen, my brother's company, DLR Vinyl Products, they've come up with a system where you can actually put high-quality vinyl fence in the ground without having to dig a hole, without having to mix any concrete. They can teach do-it-yourselfers how to do it, and they can also work with contractors who might be looking to start installing vinyl. It's super high-quality product. The great thing about it is that it has fantastic longevity. You put it in, you don't have to worry about staining or sanding or anything like that. I've been lucky enough, Struddy. They've put in multiple fences in my different yards and they've built me 3 decks. I have totally abused the fact that my family is in the fencing and decking business, but it's great product. Give Rob a call in Calgary or Rick a call here in Edmonton. This is a company my dad started. It's a family business. I'm super proud of it. That's DLR Vinyl Products in Edmonton and Calgary.
We're back. Time to proceed with our takeaways now. Brought to you by Sherwood Buick GMC. #1 GMC dealership in all of Canada, 5 years running. At Sherwood Buick GMC, they actually have trucks in stock, or they can get them in short order. The staff is fantastic, but the process is streamlined. Financing is quick and easy. Go see Phil and the crew at Sherwood Buick GMC. Tell them Got Your Back sent you, just off Baseline Road on the way into Sherwood Park. We bring back in Terry Ryan, and it's interesting. The Oilers have been up against some cap situations all year long, and they've had shorter rosters. 22, usually it's 23-man roster. We've seen 22, we've seen 21, we've seen 20. And that's affected different players, such as Dylan Holloway, who's down the minors now, incidentally got hurt down there out for a month, and Vinny Desharnais, who has become quite a likable player. I think everyone loves the story. He grinded it out, got onto college, late draft pick, grinded out in the minors, and worked his way up. And now he's become a productive player for this Oilers team. And he missed the last few games. He was sent down, but was sick, called back up for tonight's game. From the distance, what do you see and what do you like about Vinny Desharnais?
Oh, I love it. I've always think that there's a spot, I think, big-time hulking defenseman. There's a need. I think they're often underrated. I go back to guys like Corey Cross. Remember when we were coming into the league? I think he was 6'6" or 6'7". Wasn't overly physical, wasn't great on the power play, but I remember playing against him going, where in the hell do I go? Where do I go? And he would just finish his hit. He didn't try to maim you or anything. He would just finish his hit, and it would hurt because he's so big. But this guy's even more fierce. Not that he's out there throwing his body around a lot, but I find Desharnais, if he just makes the play and finishes the hit, the boards rock, people feel it. It gives momentum behind your team. He's great at blocking shots. He's on the penalty kill. Seems to be extremely comfortable in the NHL, even though it's a small sample size. Everything I read, everything I hear, seems like he's got a good attitude. So I wish him nothing but the best. Really, the only question for me is that why wasn't he here sooner?
Yeah, a slow to develop and a late bloomer. It's interesting to see how he does it. Now, tonight he played the third most penalty kill minutes, and I think he's an effective penalty killer, right? You mentioned it, the size and the reach makes a big difference. I think that he's in the right place. And when you're bigger, it's easier to be close to the right place than when you're a smaller
Yeah,
guy.
you're right.
But what I like is that when you go to the net against Vinny Desharnais, you're greeted with his cross check. Right now, it's not a danger. It's not like, a full on break your arm, but his stick is out and he's holding it and he's like, welcome to my area. This is my area. And it's really hard to get to the net. So I think it kind of deters people from getting there. And it makes a big difference. And, you look at the opportunity he's getting under Jay Woodcroft and Dave Manson. He was out there at the end of the game, right? Here's a guy who has 9, 8, 10, whatever NHL games, whatever, doesn't matter. If I'm off by 3, it's still not many. It's not talking about 1,000. And he's out there helping defend a lead, with guys like Connor McDavid and some of those mainstay guys. So I think that they like the fact that he understands who he is. He understands what he has to do and makes those simple plays, because he had the puck a couple times, and then towards the end he got it, carried it out to the other, from one side of the rink to the other, and just went backhand out and down and went the ice. Nothing pretty. Doesn't have to be, though. You're not trying to score. You don't want to get scored on. You want to get the puck out of your zone and the other way. So I think he really understands who he is and what he has to do. So, if I'm him, just keep doing the same thing, and he can turn these 9, 10 games into, 5, 6, 7 years of hockey, NHL hockey. And it's a long grind for him, but the fans like him. Obviously the coaches like him because they're playing the last minute of the game. I mean, how many players do you see with 9 NHL games or whatever it is, 8, whatever the number is, get out in the end of the game out in front of all the other guys when there's 7 defensemen? It's not like there's 6 dressed and 2 are hurt. There were 7 defensemen, and he was one of the guys out there.
Well, I love what you just explained, how it was a simple play, but towards the end of the game where he took it across the zone, took it himself, could have panicked, could have iced it, but and all he did, he backhanded it off the boards, went out, but it was a key part of the game to do that. As I think they were up by 2 goals, maybe 30 seconds left, but it showed that they had confidence. But not only that, it showed that he has confidence. Like, you can tell those little plays, whereas if it was first game or 2, he probably would have gone high off the glass. Nothing wrong with that. But now you can see he keeps it a little longer, maybe puts his head up, waits to see McDavid springing instead of make the easy play. I think that you're watching positive development right in front of your eyes. And I've often said it, like, God, if I was a GM, I'd really, really, really want to work with these guys. You can't teach size, and you don't have to be huge. No, you don't. But it really helps. And hopefully it rubs off. What's that other kid down? Nimalainen, is it? I remember watching him in exhibition. He's a big guy, but he doesn't necessarily use his size the same or in the right way. But if he could, it's just a huge asset. Right back to Wade Belak and Chris McAllister playing for the Saskatoon Blades. My God, you just couldn't get around them. They're just so big. It was physics.
Two massive guys. Let's go back into the Weiss Johnson soundbox here. And I love this tweet. We haven't had you on to talk about this, TR, at least not recently. So this one's from @PlayLaBamba. Hey guys, other than Patrick Kane and Erik Karlsson, who is the players you want the Oilers to trade for most? Personally, this is PlayLaBamba again. Personally, I wouldn't mind David Savard of the Montreal Canadiens and or Colton Parayko of St. Louis Blues. Now, you've heard it all, the trades. You know the Maple Leafs made the huge trade for Ryan O'Reilly. Hat trick in his second game as a Maple Leaf. There's some other trades. Tarasenko, the big trade from St. Louis to New York Rangers. Who would you like to see the Oilers get, and who do you think they actually need, TR?
Who would I like to see him get? I'd like to see him get Max Domi. It's probably out of nowhere, but I like his spunk. I like his two-way. I think it'd just be a little bit of an improvement on, I wouldn't expect him to be top 6. I would expect bottom 6, but I think it would be a little bit of an improvement over 1 or 2 of the players they have there now. And as far as D, I like going for it, especially when teams are in their prime, and I'd love to see Karlsson work. I know it's very tricky with the contracts, but I do think there's a spot, and I think it'd be one of the most exciting things in many years to see 3 of the top 5 scorers playing on the same ice surface.
Yeah, I like the Max Domi one. I think there's maybe something there, and a little easier. Just 1 year left on his or no years left on his contract. But Erik Karlsson is funny. I've been on the fence, and I've recently had a change of mind, an epiphany. So is Erik Karlsson exactly what they need? I believe they need a stouter defenseman, but they don't have to necessarily be perfect this year. You want to keep adding and adding and adding. So when I look at around the Western Conference, I look at the Colorado Avalanche as a standard to beat. Now I know that they're not killing it this year and they have significant injury challenges, especially with Cale Makar out now, at least through the weekend. But their D is elite. Cale Makar, Tays, Manson, Bo, and Byram. Then you look at the Oilers with Nurse and CC and company. If you bring in Carlson, I believe Carlson and Makar are fairly similar. And then you can put Nurse up against Tays. So now you're starting to line it up. So you're starting to say, okay, we being Oilers can now match up on that back end with what they need. So Carlson might not be what you need right now, but I think he's part of the solution. And then you got to go and still probably add another guy or have like Broberg or someone develop into what you need. But you're slowly getting closer to saying, we're getting tighter. Now the problem is you're also tight right up against the cap, and I get all that. But that is how I'm looking at and thinking about it as a GM. I'm like, is he going to help us win the Stanley Cup this year? Well, maybe if he really gets playing. But man, does he make us that much better moving forward? Because he's another part that we can now compete with the elite teams in the league, because elite teams that win Stanley Cups have elite defensemen, not just one. They have elite defensemen.
And consistently, don't they? If you look back at any team that's
100%.
won it in recent memory, you're right. They have multiple elite players and multiple elite defensemen. And you could argue that even with all the smoke and mirrors of the forwards in the past 10 years, defense has won it more often than not, really, if you think about it. And I look no further than Tampa Bay. I say it every year. Look at those D, how good they are, how big they are, how commanding, and they're good. And they, like I said, they have studs. Colorado, go right back, St. Louis, right? There's a common denominator here.
Well, you just look at any of those teams. So St. Louis, Parayko, the Blackhawks had Duncan Keith. Boston Bruins had Shara.
St. Louis had Pietrangelo as well.
Yeah, Pietrangelo. Yeah, you go through L.A., Doughty.
Yeah.
We got Makar last year. Like there's always that guy. And so and this is no disrespect to Darnell Nurse or anyone on there, but I don't think they have that guy. They've got the guys up front, and it looks like they've got some goalies and get it done. But my God, they do not have that guy. So
I think Nurse would play better with that guy. Right?
Yeah. And then that's be an interesting conversation. How do you deploy these guys? So do you put them together? Do you split them up? But I've come around. I was on the fence, and not in a bad way. I truly didn't know how I felt. But I was thinking about it. I'm like, they need to keep adding these top end guys. And people talk about to cut the clock ticking on Draisaitl and McDavid. I get all that stuff, but you go out and do this, and then you got to maybe find one more D man, or develop one. And now you got Nurse, Carlson, and whomever the third guy is. You got your goalies, you got your top guys, and now you're tinkering on the edges, man, because you're getting damn close. You're getting damn close to competing with those top teams.
Totally agree.
So yeah, I'm going to be pretty interested in how this all shakes out. Moving forward, all right. Well, TR, any final thoughts here before we put a bow on this edition of Got Your Back without Ryan Rashog, who's on a yoga retreat?
Let's see. Hockey-wise, no, I don't have many thoughts. Hope to talk to you guys again soon. I will be in Edmonton before we do Shoresy, so I'll probably be there the third week of March. Follow my Instagram, Terry Ryan 2020, for details. I'll be peppering them out there as the days go by here.
Zuby, any final thoughts from you? Did we miss anything or screw up anything major that you're going to have to just completely redo?
No, I think we're going to be pretty clean in editing. Other than just, I thought we went pretty easy on the boss tonight. I think in his absence, I think he got a free ride tonight. We went hard at him the last time. Now we're almost at the end here, so he might have switched it off by now. I don't even know if he'll listen to this part. So if you guys got anything left, you unload on Ryan on Shaugger. Now's the time.
Yeah, we did. We did give him a bit of a rough ride last time, didn't we? What was it about? Was it the gout? Was it his repeated bouts of the gout, or was it his bad back? Yeah, he's got a lot of things
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on.
and I haven't been back since, so maybe I shouldn't rib him as much.
Yeah.
Maybe, I rib him again. I'll be back in September 24.
Yeah, exactly.
I believe the line that you started with, Struds, in the last time he was gone was you said, Ryan's not here, so we're less organized, but a lot better looking. That was your line.
Oh, boy.
That does sound like something.
It turned
that
out to
would
be
said.
true,
Yeah.
I think. Pretty accurate.
Very accurate. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap this up here. We'll have another one later this week. The Oilers take on Crosby. I love seeing those two guys going at it. Pittsburgh still hanging on. Hopefully the Oilers can have a good game against them. Some young goalies maybe again. So thanks for this, boys. We'll check in later this week. Thank you for tuning in. Of course, you can check us out on all of our different levels. Zuby, we can check it all out. You'll have this out ASAP for everyone to check out and digest and consume. And if you have any comments, look for us on Twitter.
You going to throw the sponsor thank yous?
Yeah, of course. Thank you to all our sponsors. Obviously, Mr. Dirk for making me look good, and Shaugger, DLL, Viner Products, Weiss Johnson for the soundbox, and of course, our good friends at Sherwood Buick GMC. That's it for us, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of this, TR and Zuby. We'll talk to you guys later this week.
Catch you on the
You
rebound.
got it.
Good night, everybody. Talk to you soon.